Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days and welcome to this quick little video. I just want to talk about Roman's comments and talk a little bit about WWE versus AEW and who won tonight. Obviously everyone's talking about the war. I would love to avoid the war personally, so it is ironic that I'm now talking about the war, but you've got to go where the conversation is, and this is where the conversation is tonight. It's all about who won, WWE or AEW. We're going to talk about that, but we're going to get to Roman's comments first, because Roman obviously did an interview with Complex. That came out today, and as a result, he was trending, and we want to talk about what he said, because he really laid into AEW. Roman was asked about AEW, and he said that he thinks they cater to a hardcore audience, whereas WWE are trying to cater to everyone. He was saying that because they're new, they're being babied by their fans at the moment. So I think what he's saying is that you can kind of serve those fans anything and they're going to enjoy it because they, are so into AEW and they're so into that type of product. It doesn't really matter what the quality of the show is like. They're gonna lap it up. They're gonna enjoy it and support it and love it regardless. So he kind of laid into the fans a little bit there of AEW. He laid into CM Punk as well, because they asked what he thought of Punk. He said that he thinks he's missing a step. He's watched a few clips and he doesn't look as good as he used to. It's kind of laid into CM Punk. And not only did he do that, but he also, when asked if he had any interest in working with him, he said he would do it, but he's got no interest. He's not interested in working with people that are like 200 pounds soaking wet when he's 6'3" and 265 pounds. And then he laid into the roster by saying that he could grab anyone from that roster and chuck them all out of the club if he wanted to. Kind of laying into the fact that they're all quite small, that everyone knows he's the dominant force in wrestling, and he really went to town. He did not need to go into that kind of detail, and as a result, Roman Reigns was trending today, and obviously that's just fired things up for tonight. So I said on our watch-along, because we do watch-alongs for Raw, Smackdown, AEW, I said at the start of that, I don't know how impressed Vince will be with those comments, because it did give AEW free press. I mean, everyone was talking about what Roman had said about AEW, so I don't know how wise that was. I don't know that his words would have changed anyone's mind about AEW. I don't know that it really did anything other than give them some free promotion. So I thought it was a bit strange that he went into such detail. But he said what he said. Shots fired. Tony Khan obviously sent a tweet out last week declaring war on WWE. And as a result of what was going to happen tonight. And that was SmackDown was going to be on for half an hour longer. So SmackDown actually encroached into AEW Rampage's time slot. So as a result, Tony Khan booked a really strong show and put a 1 hour kind of buy-in on YouTube. So the hour before Rampage, you could go to YouTube and you could watch some killer matches, some awesome stuff. I mean, for me, it's hard to say who won, because I think both shows had really good moments. I think that Bryan Danielson versus Suzuki on the buy-in for AEW was maybe the best match of the night. I thought it was absolutely brilliant, and I just wish I could have paid it more attention, because I was obviously having to watch SmackDown and AEW. But then I think like maybe the biggest OMG moment of the night was the contract signing over on SmackDown. So I kind of feel like both shows had some big moments, and I think both shows had some weak moments as well. I thought Ruby Soho against the Bunny wasn't all that great. I didn't think that Carmella against Zelina was all that great. Kind of felt like SmackDown actually was a 2-hour show that had just been stretched out to 2.5. Like, you could have had a really great SmackDown tonight if it was 2 hours, but because it was 2.5, it just meant there was quite a few bits in there. Like, I don't even know what Shinsuke Nakamura was doing. Shinsuke Nakamura came down to the ring, went around the ring, and then went back again. and that was it. Like, it was really random, really weird. And I don't know why he did that. Seth's promo just didn't seem to really go anywhere or do anything for me. Edge's promo at the start was very good. But maybe it was a little long. Maybe it didn't need to be the first thing we saw on SmackDown. So there was a few little things I would have changed about SmackDown. In regards to Rampage, I thought that they put their best match on the buy-in, which was Bryan Danielson against Suzuki. Going into Rampage itself, then I think we got a really good CM Punk match that probably didn't get the respect it deserved or the views that it deserved. I think because he was going up against Matt Sydal, who isn't the biggest name. And I think that we've already seen a few CM Punk matches, and so this didn't feel that special, to be honest. I think the fact that we've seen him against Powerhouse Hobbs, and we saw him just last week, I think, on Rampage, kind of meant that this didn't get the attention it deserved, but it was actually a really good match. Then we went into the Bunny and Ruby Soho. It's always great to see Ruby Soho, but this match was a real step down from what we'd just seen before with CM Punk and then Bryan Danielson before that. And then we got to the main event, and my problem with the main event with Rampage was that I really think that if you're going to use MMA stars, you've got to use them a certain way. They're so big, they're so strong, it's just so hard to see them selling and it be believable when we've seen them have absolute wars in UFC. All of a sudden now they get kicked in the chest and you've got Junior Dos Santos clutching his heart. Like, it's just a bit strange. It's a hard one to buy. So I kind of feel with that there was something there, but it was a bit of a misstep at times as well. And then, like, there was a big tease at the end. Who's going to save Jericho? And it turned out to just be the rest of the Inner Circle. So there was definitely things with both shows that I enjoyed, and there was things with both shows that I didn't, to be perfectly honest. And as much as I want to sit here and say this is the show that won, it's very hard to do that. It's very, very hard to do that. I mean, if I'm being straight up honest, if I could only watch one show, I would have watched SmackDown. And the reason why I would have watched SmackDown is because we've obviously building towards Crown Jewel. There was a big Roman Brock contract signing that I really did not want to miss. And other than, I would say, Bryan Danielson, Suzuki, I don't feel like there was really anything else on AEW that was, like, essential. The CM Punk match was very good, but I could quite happily have missed it all. But I would have been very disappointed if I missed Bryan Danielson and Suzuki. So it's hard. If I'm going to be pushed to an answer, then I wouldn't have wanted to have missed SmackDown. SmackDown for me is one of my favourite shows of the week, so Rampage is not. I'm quite happy in admitting that Rampage over the past few weeks has felt a bit skippable, and it seems like a lot of people have been skipping it. So Rampage up against SmackDown for me. If I had to choose one, I would choose SmackDown. It would be harder if it was Dynamite up against SmackDown, though. That's where things would have got interesting, but that's not what we had tonight. In regards to the biggest moment, I think it was Brock and Roman. The biggest match, I think, was Bryan Danielson versus Suzuki. The big overriding thing, the headline for me, though, is I don't want this again. I don't. It's hard to say who won, but I know for a fact who lost, and that was the fans. Because I think the fans, we deserve the best wrestling shows that we can get anyway, right? And so we were lucky to get Bryan Danielson against Suzuki, and we might not have got that if they weren't head-to-head with SmackDown. And I think that's a shame, because I think if you can do that match, you should do that match, because we don't know what tomorrow brings. There's so many matches for Bryan Danielson that doing him against Suzuki is a dream match, and if you can do it, do it. So it shouldn't need SmackDown to go head-to-head for that match to be booked. Granted, they might have had plans for it anyway, and they've just pulled the trigger early. But I think the biggest loser here was the fans. I could not get lost in that Daniel Bryan match as much as I wanted, because I was having to watch SmackDown. I couldn't get lost inside Becky and Sasha, because I was having to watch Rampage. And really, if this is the way that wrestling is going to go, and we're going to get this kind of a war, and the show's going to go head to head, it's the fans that lose. It's us that loses. And I'm sure there'll be some of you out there that say AEW is the better show tonight. I totally get it if you think that. There'll be some of you out there that think that SmackDown was the better show tonight. I totally understand if you think that. There'll be some of you that loved the war and just couldn't get enough of it all. I can kind of get that, I suppose. I mean, without it, we might not have got Bryan Danielson against Suzuki. But I think for me, the big takeaway is I don't want another war. I don't want another war. I don't want another war because there's so much good wrestling right now. I want to give it my full attention. I want to be able to watch it and enjoy it. And it was hard to do that for me tonight. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What did you think of Roman's comments? What did you think of the Friday Night War? Who do you think was victorious and who do you think lost? So let me know down below. Awesome, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.